Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about what happens when expectations and reality don't mix. I bought these lights on eBay because they have a flowing turn signal, and that's what I want. When I go and build my new camper, I have to take the box, or as the Aussies would say, the tub, completely off the truck. So all I'm going to be left with is a frame. The bottom of my camper goes directly on the frame rail. Now for the Aussies in the group, I'm not going to have a tray. The bottom of my camper is going to sit right on the frame rail. I'm going to have the wiring that goes back to the tail lights, but I won't have the tail lights. So I have to come up with a new set of tail lights. That's why I bought these. I like the flowing lights. That's why I want, that's the whole reason for buying this, was the fact that the lights flow. I kind of like that. This thing comes with 4 wires. A black one is the ground, a red one is your brake light, a yellow one is your turn signal light, and the green one, well, the green one is a joke. They call it daytime running light. It's totally useless. You get red and purple and green and yellow, and they all flash on the outside edges of this oval, and they just look like garbage, and there's no way it's going to be legal. I can't even hook it up. I've talked to the manufacturer. There's nothing I can do about it. If I use that wire, that's what I'm going to get. The problem with this comes from the fact that on a North American trailer hookup, and the way your wiring works on a North American vehicle, your yellow light is your left-hand turn signal and your left-hand stop lamp. Your green wire, which is on the opposite side, is your right-hand turn signal and your right-hand stop light. In other words, there are 2 filaments in that one bulb that operate depending on how much current they're getting. These can be made to operate like that, but this one isn't. Now, you may find another manufacturer who's figured out how to get around that problem, but these guys haven't. And I know because I contacted the manufacturer after I tested everything out. Yeah, it all worked. And then I said, how am I going to do this? And they said, well, we just don't know. Well, I figured a way around that, but to do that I have to make my own wiring harness because this won't work, and I can't use one light. I have to run 2. This light here, I will hook up the yellow turn signal to be on the turn signal circuit. The red brake light will hook up to my clearance lights. I am going to have to put these 2 lights stacked the way you see them in my hands now on my bumper. This will be turn signal and clearance, and this one will be turn signal and brakes. To do that, I have to buy another connector, a handful of Scotch locks, because you do not want to cut the factory harness. Got to crawl underneath my brake pedal to where the brake switch is, put a Scotch lock and run a wire from there all the way to the trailer connector and hook that up. And whatever pin I use will have to correspond with the lighting on here. It will not correspond with that because I can't use it. And that's the purpose of today's video. If you're going to buy lights like this, mine were non-returnable. Thankfully, I bought 2 sets of these. The object of the game was, I have a left side, I have a right side, and if I break one, I've got a spare set. Because when I go overlanding, nothing breaks in the driveway, nothing breaks at home. It may not even break in your province. It'll break when you're up the road someplace and you can't get parts. When you break down, it's usually in the worst place possible. That's because that's just the way Murphy's Law works. Thankfully, I have 4 lights. Now, to get back to this, If you have a 7-pin North American truck, this is what you get. Your black wire, which is up here at 11 o'clock, that is live power. Your tail lights and your running lights, in other words, the lights that are going to be up on your top of your cab of your truck, they're also going to be on your camper or on a brown wire back here. Pin at 1 o'clock. The center pin is purple, that is your reverse lights. Now, if you have an older car like I have that does not have a reverse camera and you want to put one in so it works, they don't power off the reverse transmission switch. They power off, at least the shops here that I've been at, they've all been taking their power off the reverse light itself in your back of your, in the back of your vehicle. My own system, I had them set it up differently. I'm running off the run side of my ignition because I drive with my reverse camera on almost all the time. I've got a touch screen, and by pushing two pads on that touch screen, I can kick my reverse camera on. If I put my vehicle in reverse, the camera does not come on because it doesn't take power off the reverse lights. It's powered off the ignition. And the reason that I do that is because the way they drive around here, I want to see what's coming up behind me. Because you get passed on the left and you get passed on the right constantly. Your brake controller. If you have an electric brakes on your trailer, it's the blue wire down at 5 o'clock. The ground wire is at 7 o'clock and it's white. These won't work simply because this wire runs brakes and this wire runs turn signals. If you hook the two of these up together, and yes, I did that just to see what would happen, I got the turn signal to flow, I got the brake lights to come on, but if I took the power off the turn signal went off, the brakes will stay on. If I take the brakes off, I still got turn signal. But I have no driving lights. That's the whole purpose of today's episode, is if you're buying stuff like this, make sure you can take it back and be really, really careful if you're buying stuff like this, because I thought I had everything all figured out and I was wrong. Now, I'm going to be here for probably another year. I'm still gathering material. I have another year on my lease, thankfully. I got a quote about a week ago to return to Canada, and they were looking at the equivalent of $42,000 Canadian money to move a 20-foot shipping container. When I came here, I had two 40s, and it cost me about 8,000 Canadian to move the pair of them. That's how badly shipping has been screwed up because of COVID. I have to stay here till A, my lease expires, and B, I can afford to go back, because there's no way I'm paying $42,000 to ship. And I have antiques that have to get to a museum. There's no way I can just throw everything out and start all over again. Someone suggested that earlier. So my videos are going to be very sporadic. I have another one in the loop right now that I'll be putting up probably in a few days. So bear with me, be patient. There's really nothing I can do with the situation that I'm in because it's out of my control. I hope you've enjoyed this little video. I hope that it is informative. Make sure if you switch to these LEDs that you've done your homework. Some of them require resistors, these don't, but they're still not going to work properly. And that's the point of all of this. Have a great day. God bless. And we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.